Hi everyone, my name is Monique.
And I'm Naveen from Before You Play.
And today, in celebration of the holiday season, we are going to be talking about 10 stocking stuffer ideas.
Gift giving ideas for your board gaming friends and family.
Yes, this is going to be actually a small item ideas. These are not, they don't all necessarily fit in a stocking.
They're not an all-in
Right.
collection of something.
Yes, and these are just board game adjacent things. And for anybody out there who's like you're pretty invested already in the board gaming space, you probably are already familiar with all of these things. But because there's a wide range of people in the hobby who sort of tend to watch our videos, we figured maybe somebody will pick up some sort of idea from this. And if you have any ideas yourself, we would love to hear from you. So please leave a comment down below if you have any recommendations as well. Now, this list is in no particular order, and this video is not sponsored. So just so you know.
Yep.
All right, are you ready with number 10?
Yes, 10 different categories of things.
Yes.
So the first category we wanted to talk about, or number 10, is things that can protect your games.
Yes, this is a broad
longevity.
category. Board game protectants of sorts. And so one of the things that sort of popped in my mind when we were making this list are sleeves. So
yeah.
I don't know if you sleeve your games. We used to try to sleeve them.
You know, it's hard to sleeve, especially when we film, because
Yes.
it creates even more of a glare with the studio lights.
Right.
So we don't, when we're unboxing it, that's typically when you'd want to sleeve it.
Yeah.
So if we're going to showcase a game, it's like, not sleeve it, and then afterwards, at what time am I going to now go sleeve it? At the very end of the day when I'm
is a
packing it all up. So
Time-consuming activity.
It is,
but
yeah.
for anybody out there who really, really, really loves any particular games, before we got into content creation, we did have
did sleeve,
games
yeah.
that I would make a list. I don't know if you even know this, but
Oh,
I would
I
make
know,
a list
yeah.
of the games that I really wanted to protect forever, because you never know when games are going out of print. And you can actually go online, I believe onto BGG.
I think BGG now has it like on the actual page of
Yeah.
the various games. They actually say now what the sleeves are.
What the card
yeah.
sizes are,
Yeah.
because cards come in all sorts of different sizes
Yeah.
depending on the game. I know one of the games that we've sleeved for sure is Scythe, because
Mm-hmm.
Scythe is one of our favorite games, and it has like 3 or 4 different sizes of sleeves.
Right.
There's like the tarot card sleeves and then the regular ones. So you have to be really cautious about what particular size you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And then amongst the actual sleeves, there are a lot of different types of quality. So you can really go down a rabbit hole in terms of sleeves, but these are neat because they can actually fit in a stocking.
Right,
So
that's true.
it is nice and
Technically a
small.
stocking stuffer, yeah.
Yeah, and you can get several of them for relatively inexpensive. But for anybody out there who really wants to protect their cards, then sleeves are great. I wish we could do them more often, but like Naveen said, it doesn't really work for us.
You know, I struggle with shuffling sleeves. I know people in the comments have said in the past, like, "Oh, you can easily do it." It's like, I don't know.
me.
I don't know how to do it. Like, I don't feel like I get a good shuffle. I'm like
Yeah.
always like sending like 7 cards here and 6 cards there.
And that is where the quality comes into play.
Oh,
because
maybe I'm just getting poor quality.
Some quality of
sleeves.
sleeves kind of stick together, so
yeah.
you can sort of do that research on your own. But that is the first kind of protectant that came into mind.
Another thing that we see whenever we go to game night and we're like transporting games and friends are bringing different games out, a lot of times they'll have something called X bands. X bands are basically these rubber bands that kind of go around the 4 different edges of your board game box and kind of keeps that lid together.
Yeah.
It's a good way to kind of just cinch everything down. Maybe the components inside are getting all sloshed around, but at least
that's-
the box is maintained so that when you open it up, you can discover
Yes.
everything went everywhere else, but at least it's
But that's
contained.
a future you
That's a
problem.
future you problem.
And not, not in that moment.
Yeah.
And the last thing is, while we're on the topic of board game protectants, we were sent a product a
Yes.
while back called the BG Shield.
This is the BG Shield. It's kind of small, so maybe hard to see, but this this has repels spills. And
This is a company that has a couple of products, actually. There's one that's more like a disinfectant, and then this is the main sort of water repelling agent.
Yeah.
So the concept here is, if you want to protect certain boards, maybe you bring board games to game night very frequently, or maybe to conventions where you're afraid of people getting a mess on it, then you can put this liquid on the board and it makes it water repellent.
Yeah, so basically, I've actually used it. So you take this like I don't know, like a cloth, and then you just basically dip it in here. This is
Yes, you have to use gloves.
very scientific.
Definitely
here.
a cloth.
Okay. This is a scientific liquid here. Now
It comes with the product.
it does come with a product.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you,
yeah.
You basically wax on, wax off it, let it sit for 10 minutes, test it out, and sure enough, it has worked for me in the past.
Yes. Now, we were going to do a dedicated review of this in the past, but we're not very good at reviewing things. So
Slash
we
B-roll.
didn't. But it's mainly because in order to review a product like this, you need to have multiple waves of testing. You know, you need to test it on different types of boards. You need to spill water on the board before and after.
Yeah.
And we didn't do that. We basically just took a Risk board and rubbed this all over it, and then we just tested it with water, and it worked.
It worked really well.
So-
Yeah, it just like the water just kind of pooled, and you just like wipe it up with the paper towel, and it doesn't actually seep in and didn't warp anything. So
Yeah.
that was pretty cool. But we haven't had like 10 or 15 different types of tests with it.
We have not. So if you have any interest in a product like this, we will include a link to their website. I know that they have a video on there that kind of demonstrates it as well. And the Dice Tower has a more thorough review of the
yeah.
product as well. So there you go. That is BG Shield.
BG Shield.
All right, moving on to number 9. We have actual board games for
Games.
this category. And this is escape style games, or otherwise mystery one-off experiences.
One-off
right?
experiences is kind of how we termed it when we were coming up with this list.
Yes, and so this is going to it's going to include games such as the Exit series,
Yes.
or Suspect. Suspect is another one that we played this year and last year. Unlock is another
Unlock,
one.
Another one like that.
But there are actually a lot of different companies that make these style games. And if you're not familiar with them, these are basically some sort of a mystery where you kind of solve it. So you solve the game and it's done. So it's not really a replayable experience,
Yep.
which is why it made this list. Because I feel like before we got into content creation, we would sort of hesitate picking up stuff like this for ourselves, knowing that it was not a repeatable experience, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, we really enjoyed the unlock. So once we, I think, got a couple, our feet wet just a couple times, then we were like, "Ooh, I can't wait for the next one to come out."
Yeah.
This one right here, this one's a little bit older now, but your sisters are coming down for the holidays, so we're looking forward to playing these with them.
Yeah, they're nice giftable experiences. The Unlock games, by the way, used to come in boxes like this, at least here in North America. But now I think they
comes in
mainly
this
come in like a
three-tier.
3-pack, which is kind of nice
like,
because
yeah.
you get 3 in one box.
3 experiences,
Versus
one box.
just one game or one scenario, I guess, in these small boxes. Suspects comes with 3 scenarios as well. And I believe there are 3 different versions of this now.
Yeah.
We haven't finished them all. And it is, like Naveen was mentioning, something that I'm really looking forward to playing when my sisters come down.
Yeah, Suspects, the ones that we have played are, you got to think quite a bit with Suspects.
You have to think with all of these.
No, but like this one is like, I wouldn't have thought of that.
This
Like,
one requires a lot more reading.
Yes.
This requires a lot more thinking out of the box. The Exit series
Yeah.
and Unlock requires you
Attention to detail,
Yeah,
maybe?
attention to detail.
Yeah.
More visual,
Yeah.
I guess, right? And the thing that's nice about especially these two are that if you know that you have friends or somebody that you're trying to find a gift for who loves a certain IP, I know they definitely have a Star Wars version of Unlock, and they have a Lord of the Rings, I believe, with the Exit series. So there you go. That is our number 9. It's cheating a little bit because these are obviously massive, but
games.
escape room style games.
Okay, number 8. What is the fun of rolling dice on your table or playing surface when you can use either a dice tower or dice trays?
Dice trays.
Yeah, so I am a fan of dice towers, and I believe Monique has a
Why?
semi-differing opinion, I
Why
think.
do you like dice towers, Naveen? I don't think we've talked about this before, actually.
Well, I think we've subtly said it. Sometimes we'll play games, just the two of us at
Mm-hmm.
home, not filming or anything, and I'm like, "You want to use the dice tower?" And you're like, "No, why don't you get the trays?" And I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. That's fine." I personally like the aesthetic and kind of the way that the this is gonna sound really silly.
The way that the dice
The
fall
dice
inside the tower.
disappear and then they come out. Yeah, so yeah. Ooh,
Oh my gosh.
It's basically playing peekaboo with me. Yeah.
I really actually enjoy the theory and the concept of a dice tower.
yeah.
I picked this one up.
You did pick
actually,
that one
this
up.
is the one dice tower that we own, and we got it at a local convention. A majority of these accessories you'll find at local conventions or flea markets and stuff like that. And I really like this because of its pattern and because I thought it removes the pressure of having to really roll the dice yourself, I guess.
You just blame it on the dice tower. You're like,
But
this thing did it.
It's so
Yeah.
loud.
that's her problem
Dice
with it.
towers are so loud.
She doesn't like the clanking around. And all
Yeah,
that stuff, so.
it's super loud. You put it on like a wooden table and then it hits the table. They're so loud. So we don't use this that often.
I know.
Dice trays, on the other hand, are great.
yeah.
I actually really, really enjoy dice trays. I'm not a big fan of rolling dice on the board. You tend to do that that sometimes if we don't have access to one of these.
Yeah, I'll just knock over
But
components. But
these are great because it really just, keeps your dice in one place. It does what it's supposed to do, basically.
I will say I'm not a big fan of rolling in the dice or in the dice tray if it's a real time game because my hands just I can't grip and grab as fast as I want.
Yeah. That is fair.
Yeah.
That's a fair argument. But how often are you playing
A couple times. There's a few.
real-time
Yeah.
games? That's true.
They're out there.
Now, as for the specifics, there are a lot of different companies that make dice trays. I would just Google dice trays or go on Etsy. Etsy is a really great place to find small business owners who make these. But there are also different types of material that they make them out of. Sometimes there's a rubber material that I'm not
Rubber
really
only,
that big of
yeah.
a fan of because the dice tend to bounce. I like more of the canvas, or I don't even know what type of material
I don't
this
know.
is.
This is like leather.
Leather?
Maybe.
No
I don't know
idea.
what this is. We
But-
picked this one up at a convention a long time ago. People do ask us about like where we got this one. Don't know.
Couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell you. Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Just local convention.
We just don't want to lose it.
Yeah. But there you go. Dice trays and dice towers.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on to number 7. This is a very casual list. I don't know if we mentioned that before, but like we said, if you are in the board gaming space, these are all probably not very new to you. But our number 7 is custom dice.
Monique
Now-
loves this this component when
Why?
it comes to games. You love custom
Oh,
dice.
yes.
Yeah.
It is my favorite sort of upgradable component.
Yeah.
Even though neither of us play RPGs, we don't really play games that require a lot of dice, that require you to have different types of dice. We pretty much only roll 6-sided dice.
D6, yeah,
right?
D6 mostly, but you
So-
like the nice custom D6.
We're not experts in this category, but it is a very nice sort of item that'll also fit in a stocking, a very small item. And there are a lot of different things that you can get for dice specifically, in addition to the trays and stuff. This is my dice bag. I
Add
love
that to the
this
list.
thing.
6.5 right there.
Yeah,
Dice bags.
dice bags. I didn't know
Bags.
they existed, honestly. That's how terrible we are at specifically dice components until I saw them at a local convention. But
That's a cool one. I like that one.
this is my dice bag. It has a bunch of robots. If you can't tell, these are robots. And inside, I just have a bunch of random dice. Now, I'm not going to pull them out because
They're
I'm
for
a little
her
bit ashamed.
only. Yeah.
But there are a lot of different companies that make custom dice. I know the Op makes a lot of really cute character or IP themed dice.
Yeah, we have some Nightmare Before Christmas, Avatar.
Avatar dice. I had my eyes set on a set of Care Bear dice once upon a time, and I think there's also like I could be wrong, but I swear I saw Rainbow Bright dice.
Oh, wow.
Those are 2 of my probably top childhood IPs.
Childhood, yeah.
So anyway, we're not going to talk about this for too long.
Dice.
That's number
seen
7,
them.
custom dice.
Okay, number 6. This is probably one of my favorite components when it comes to upgrading games, and that would be metal coins.
Ooh, I'm so sorry if
really-
that was loud.
Sorry, I will try to turn it down in
In
post-production.
post.
Yeah, that was rude of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, metal coins, I think they're amazing, especially when you have a game. It can really put you in the setting of a particular game. Like we have ones for Maracaibo, Septima. We have
They have-
Tricarion, a couple different ones.
They have metal coins for so many different
games.
games. We are in the golden age of metal coins. They also have companies who just make the coins.
Yeah,
They're
that's right.
not even related to a game. There's a company that ran a Kickstarter, or they have several of them now, where it's like different themes. There's like Egyptian. There's
Pirate themes ones,
pirate
yeah.
theme. There's all sorts of different metal coins out there, and they're really, really nice. They are on the pricier side.
They
So
are,
this
yeah.
is not a. This might not be a stocking stuffer per se idea, but for somebody who really, really loves a particular game, especially one of the bigger, more, I guess, the heavier popular games, such as Tricarion, Scythe, etc., the chances are high that there are specific metal coins for them.
Right.
All right, moving on to number 5. This accessory is super mandatory for me. I don't know about you.
It is,
but
yeah.
this is like the thing that I cannot live without. And they are Bit Bowls.
Yes.
So the thing that I love about Bit Bowls is the fact that they come in all sorts of styles, qualities, and prices. The Bit Bowls that we use, we actually get a lot of questions about these. These are from the dollar store.
These
So
are
I don't
from Dollar Tree.
know where, depending on what region you're in, I don't know what your dollar stores are like if you have them, but definitely for us, how much were these?
I think it's 10 for $1.
Yeah,
Possibly.
very inexpensive.
And these particular ones, we had a previous one that was maybe lesser quality than this, surprisingly. Those would crack a lot, but these more recent ones, we have this 10-pack, and honestly, they've held up for a couple of years now.
Yeah,
these are
they're
the same
perfect.
ones that you see in the top-down. A lot of times when we have components, different areas of the board.
or like resources, all of the
resources, things like
resources, we'll have them these Bit Bowls off screen or sometimes even on screen,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll bring them with me to conventions. They are so useful.
Yeah.
because you probably hate it when you lose a component, and this helps you avoid that.
Maintain it. Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. So, BitBulls, this is definitely, when we were setting out to make up this list, we
Yeah.
knew BitBulls was definitely going to be on there.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like the most glamorous thing, but they're just so practical, so
Super useful,
useful.
yeah.
And if you want something that's a little bit more pleasing to the eyes, I guess I know BGG has
They do.
their version of a BitBull on their BGG store, and I think we have some of those
We
too.
do have them.
And the thing that's nice about those is they're collapsible, so you sort of build them. They're rubber, and then when you're done, you just break it apart, and they store flat.
They do.
So anyway, that's number 5, BitBulls.
Okay, number 4 on the list. This would be upgraded components.
Yes. We talked about dice trays and dice.
dice.
So you could probably foresee that this would make the list.
Components, yeah. So we have something to represent upgraded components. Monique?
We
drum
have
roll,
an
please.
upgraded coffee cup for Arc Nova.
Yes.
Because we don't really have, I will say, even though this is on our list, we don't really have a lot of specifically upgraded components from third-party companies. We have a lot of games that are like deluxe Kickstarter versions that came with
Upgrade stuff.
the publisher's version of upgraded bits, but there are a lot of companies out there who make like their own screen printed meeples or something for a specific game that didn't have that. Oh no.
Look.
Dexter chewed on the coffee mug, so the coffee part is spilling out. This, by the way, if you're wondering, is from a company called Game Foundry, and they're on Etsy. They make a lot of different inserts, actually, which we'll be talking about maybe further down the list.
Possibly, yeah.
But this is a part of the extra bits that comes with their Arc Nova insert that they make. So this is our representation of upgraded bits, but for anybody who likes games such as Root or Everdell or you name it, really.
Yeah,
there
there's
are
a lot of different ones out there.
yeah. So Etsy is a really good place to find small business owners who will make upgraded components. Meeple Source also makes
yeah.
them, and just the BGG store.
Yeah.
They have upgraded components from time to time as well. All right, moving on to number 3. We have playmats.
Ah, yes.
For the first time ever.
I'm revealing.
Never before seen on this channel. It is the
near and dear.
spoils of Naveen, the Splendor champion winner.
I did win a
award.
tournament once many moons ago, and I had my pick of the litter as
Yes.
to what my grand prize would be. I chose this,
That's
the
right.
Splendor playmat.
Yes, for
Right.
anybody who doesn't get the reference or who wasn't aware, Naveen is a one-time Splendor tournament winner.
You know, I've only competed in one tournament.
Yeah.
I happened to win it.
Happened to win it that
4
day.
for 4.
So
I never will play again.
there you go, playmats.
Playmats,
Now we
yeah.
don't have a whole lot of them. We clearly
We
we
don't.
have this one.
We have that one.
And at the time that Naveen won it, it was very useful and
Oh,
it
yeah.
was like a very coveted item to have. There weren't really that many upgraded mats that were kind of going around. I feel like at least at that time. Now they do make a lot of upgraded mats for a lot of different
Especially in, like
games.
Kickstarter and stuff like that. Yeah.
And I know it does not fit in a stocking, but it is still a neat
Tube like, you know, you can kind
Yeah.
of shove it in there. Yeah.
It's still a board gaming adjacent gift idea for people who especially like card games because now I feel like 2-player CCGs, LCGs, all of the types of card games like that are sort of on the rise again.
In addition to game-specific mats like that one that I just kind of showed, Allplay also has a surface playing mat. So those are really, really nice to play with. We don't particularly own one of those because we basically mainly play on this table.
We do actually. We own a mat. We just don't really use it because we play on this table.
Yeah.
It's like a red sort of
It's like
velvet mat.
it's more like a felt one. Like it's not like this neoprene mat, which is the ones that I'm kind of talking about.
Right, right.
Allplay, which was formerly known as BoardGameTables.com, they make really good quality play mats that kind of take up the entire surface of your table playing space. They have 3 different sizes, I believe.
Yeah.
And we have a friend that actually takes it around, and it's, you know, we've been pretty happy with playing with it. It's
really nice.
It rolls up and like lays nice and flat, nothing bubbles in them. So from that 1 out of 1 that I've seen in person, it was really good quality.
And for anybody who's wondering, because we do get a lot of questions regarding the surface that we use when filming, this is a wool blanket. It was
Yes.
recommended to us. We use it because we film. I don't necessarily know that this would be our go-to playing surface otherwise, but it actually works really well.
It does, yeah.
So
Okay, number 2 on our list. This is something that we find very, very useful for both setting up as well as breaking down a game when you're done. And these would be, of course, board game inserts.
yes, and we have actually a few different types of inserts from different companies that we've sort of accrued throughout the years. Because we primarily play heavy games, or that's one of our favorite types of genre of games, I guess, you sort of open the box and there's components everywhere.
Bags.
So this is my second favorite thing. And one of our favorite companies that makes inserts is a company called Folded Space.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I will mention that we have been sent a few of these in the past as review copies, I guess. And by far, they're at least my favorite because they are relatively inexpensive. Some board game inserts tend to be super expensive. Like
Sometimes it's like the
price
game
of the
again.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these ones are not necessarily as visually appealing as those more expensive ones are, but they organize your games just fine.
They don't add a lot of weight to the games, meaning physical heavy weight, because these are foam core from Folded Space. So all you need is just a little bit of glue and a little bit of time, some patience, and you kind of put them all together. It's a fun activity that whenever we get them, we kind of get excited. Like, hey, when do you want to?
He loves building these.
I do, yeah.
He wants to set aside a day to just let's build inserts. That's like his dream. Let's drink coffee and build inserts.
Yeah, just like on a lazy day, just like, hey, you want to just build some of these?
And hot tip. You only need regular glue.
Elmer's glue.
Just your regular glue. The first time we built these, I was getting all sorts of different types of glue, and it would never keep it together. Like I'd wake up the next day, and we'd go set up the game, and the inserts would be not stuck together.
Okay, so our Spirit Island, we did not glue that one. So, so you don't have to technically glue it.
You don't have to.
You should absolutely glue if you're going to get a Folded Space, because our Spirit Island is not glued. And so now that is something I don't look forward to doing, is taking everything apart.
And re-gluing everything.
And then not even re-gluing it, just gluing it. Yeah, because it hasn't been glued.
Why
so
didn't we glue it?
I don't know.
Anyway, when you first get an insert specifically from Folded Space, it comes in a container like this. So it is relatively small. If you're going to be gifting inserts, I guess that's the whole reason why I'm showing you this. This is what it would look like.
Right.
And then you just sort of take it out. The instructions are all in there, and you build it. It's an activity.
Yep.
Now, like I was mentioning, there are other companies that make inserts. We actually have a Scout insert.
We do.
For this little game, and it is from Game Foundry,
Game Foundry,
the same company that made the little Arc Nova coffee cup.
Yeah, surprisingly for a game like this, Scout, it can be a mess. When you open it up and look in there, there's a lot of different chits, a lot of different pieces of cardboard, and you can almost not get the whole thing kind of like to close on there. It's like you're going to have like that. You'd probably need those X bands, to really keep it closed, a little mini one. So yeah, the insert for this one is really nice.
Now, to each their own, right? We don't know who is going to need what kind of insert, but there are different types of inserts out there in case you're interested. And finally, joining us for our number one, we have Dexter, by the way.
Special
he was
guest.
wanting to be included. It wouldn't be a board game top 10 without more games, right?
Games, of course.
So,
number one.
Our number one is small box card games.
We love those.
Now, we have a slew of small box card games sitting around us right now, so we're just going to rapid fire through them.
Sure.
These are games that I feel like were released fairly recently, so you can still sort of find them. And the thing that's great about small box card games is they do fit in a stocking, and there are a lot of fantastic card games out there. So would you like to start?
All right. Let's just rapid fire. So, one that I think if you've been watching our channel for some time, you would know that we really enjoy Cabo. Cabo is a game that still to this day, I mean, it's been many years that we've been playing it. Still have a lot of fun with it.
The original Cabo came in
Cabo.
a much smaller box. This is a deluxe version. That's why it's like it comes with two versions of Cabo,
decks.
just so you know.
2 decks of cards.
But we really, really love that game.
We do like that one.
Next up, we have a couple of titles from Pandasaurus. Now, they have a nice line of card games, but these just happen to be two of them that we own. It's Sea Salt and Paper, which I believe was originally published by Bomix, as well as The Game.
Yes.
This is not the Pandasaurus version of the game. This is one that we picked up in Europe because it comes with The Game on Fire, which is the mini
Advanced
expansion.
variant expansion, yeah.
But this was probably our most played game this year. And
that.
maybe
I love
last
that game.
year. I don't remember when we picked it up.
Absolutely love that game.
Yes, this is fantastic. And we're always on the lookout for the 2-player only version of this. So if you see any version of the game, then just know that we think it's very, very good.
Yes.
Next, we have one of our favorite 2-player only games. This is called Shotten Totten, published by Aiello. We have talked about this game a lot. There's also an expansion, or not expansion, it's a sequel.
Yeah.
Shotten Totten 2. But I think between the two of them, I still prefer this game. For anybody out there who likes poker hands, I guess.
Yeah, it's like you're competing over basically these stones.
Mm-hmm.
One player plays on one side, the other on the other, and you're trying to make 3-card poker hands
Mm-hmm.
and beat your opponent on each side of every individual stone.
Yeah, two-player dueling style
I
almost.
think we've done a playthrough of this. We've definitely done Shot and Totten 2.
I think we only did Shot and Totten too.
We did Shot and Totten 2. So if you like what you saw there, I'll leave it up here. And then if you like that one, then you can look into Shot and Totten.
Yes,
regular.
aka Battle Line,
Battle
I
Line
believe.
also, yeah.
So same game, smaller box.
Love it.
Now, there are also whole publishers who specialize in small card games. Of course, there's Oink.
Oink, yeah.
So if you've been to a convention, a board gaming convention of sorts, then you are probably very familiar with Oink because all their games pretty much look like this.
Mm-hmm.
One of their first games that was really popular was
Deep Sea Adventure.
Deep Sea Adventure.
Yeah.
That's right. That was the first Oink game that
It
we've
was
ever played.
a selfish push your luck diving for treasure game.
Yes, definitely push your luck.
yeah.
You're trying to deep dive, pick up as much treasure as possible, and then head back to the submarine.
Before the oxygen
Before-
runs out.
Yes,
Yeah.
and if you do it first, then you can sort of make,
There's communal oxygen, so
Yes.
you can really like close the door behind you.
you could be mean.
You can be mean.
And then, of course, Scout was one of the most popular card
Oh, yeah.
games in the past couple of years. And I also picked up Town 66. I don't remember which convention I was at when I
I think
picked
that was
this up.
Essen.
But this is a very puzzly game, and it plays solo as well.
Another company that specializes in small box card games is Allplay. One of the ones that we have here to represent Allplay is a game called Chomp. This is one where you are trying to configure different dinosaurs and make sure they're fed.
And there's tile laying. It's very neat, but there's a whole line of games that Allplay makes. I know we've covered Bites before.
Mountain Goats.
Mountain Goats,
Yeah.
Kabuto Sumo. They had a lot of releases this year that we did not get to try. I was very curious about Sail, which I
Sail,
think was
yeah.
a two-player only.
I think so,
But
yeah.
their games tend to feature really, really great artwork and really great components too. And like we said, it's small box.
Good quality. Yeah.
I think one of the holiday-themed ones from last year that we got to play was the Ghosts of Christmas, the trick-taking game
Trick-taking
that
game,
was
yeah.
like past, present, and future.
Yep.
They're a really neat publisher to check out if you enjoy small box games. Along the same lines, there's another company called Grandpa Beck's Games, who also specializes in small box, but they're more family weight. They're very family weight. So this is probably our favorite title.
I think
of
that's our favorite one.
Their
of theirs.
entire line.
Yeah.
It's called Skull King, and it is a trick-taking game as well, but it's long. It's like 10 rounds. And it's a little bit more involved, but fantastic game. And another company that makes even smaller games is one called Button Shy. So you might be familiar with them. All of their games look like this. They're
Wallet-sized
all
games.
wallet games where, how many cards is it?
18, I believe.
18 cards, something like that.
I think
They
it's
all
18
have
cards, yeah.
the same number of cards, and there's all sorts of different player counts. This is a cooperative game called, no, this is not cooperative.
It's a solo or competitive 2-player game.
Yes, called Skulls of
Mm-hmm.
Sedlick. We featured this around Halloween time, I believe, last year.
So, yeah.
There's a game called
wow. Mm-hmm.
Rove. Rove was what I'm thinking of. That's a solo-only game where you're moving around a cute little robot and trying to make different configurations.
You're like in space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's also Sprawlopolis, Circle the Wagons.
Tussie Mussy.
Tussie Mussy. That
They
was the
have
one.
a very large
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
line, and they're all wallet-sized games.
Yep.
So if you're looking for really a stocking stuffer, then these games you might want to check out.
Sure.
And the last game that we wanted to mention is one that is really dear to me. This is called For Sale.
Ah, yes.
And this is a tiny version of it.
Travel?
I think there's a regular version, and this is a travel version.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the older games on our list, actually, and it still stands the test of time. In this game, you're pretty much just buying and selling houses. The game is played in two different
phases.
phases. The first phase, you are trying to buy the houses.
You're trying to acquire the currency for the next phase, which
Yes.
is then buying the real estate with the currency that you guys are using.
You're trying to, you have money to start the game, and you're trying to buy the houses that are in front of on the table. And then with the houses in the second phase, you're going to be playing them simultaneously to try to bid on the money.
Exactly,
And the
yeah.
money goes to the players in order of the value of their houses, if that makes sense. So there's a possibility that you could buy a house for very, very expensive because you auction each house off and then sell it back for nothing.
Right.
So they're really, really interesting moments and fantastic artwork and small box, perfect stocking stuffer.
For me, I think this game plays best at 4 or higher. So if you are one that only plays, I don't think this can even be played at 2 players. I think it's 3 to 6 players
3 to
only.
6.
So if you are a 2-player only kind of family, then this may not be one for you.
But there you go. That is For Sale. And those are the slew of small box card games that we just wanted to let you know about. Well, there you have it. Those were 10 stocking stuffer ideas. Well, really board gaming adjacent ideas, I guess.
Gifts.
Gifts.
Things related to board games
board
that we
games.
wanted to talk about for the holiday season here.
Yes. And it might be, I don't know what the timing is if people shop online, but the reason why we still wanted to talk about it, even though it's the middle of December already, is because there are local gaming stores that we would love to encourage people to go check out. They have a lot of these games, and sometimes they have accessories as well.
Totally.
So
Now, if you have any ideas, anything that we may have missed, or things that would be good for our own radars, please let us know in the comments down below, because it can be a very valuable resource, not only to us, but to everybody else in the community who's reading the comments.
Yes.
If you have any questions of any of the products or anything that we kind of talked about here, feel free to also leave them in the comments, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as we can. I hope you all have a great holiday. We hope to see you very soon on the next video. If you like these kind of videos and you want to see more in the future, please consider subscribing.
thank you.
Thanks.
Happy holidays.